QUO VADIS Aida, and I better spell that QUO, separate word VADIS, VADIS, and there's a comma, and the word Aida. Now, I should say that that's Latin, and it translates to where are you going? It's M-rated, it's 104 minutes. July 1995, the Srebrenica massacre of 8,372 Muslim boys and men during the Bosnian War was an act of genocide. The barbarity of it is revealed in this movie. Aida, played by Jasna Juricic, is a United Nations translator and is the centrepiece around whom the action in the film unfolds. The besieged enclave of we're going to try that again. The besieged enclave of Srebrenica in eastern Bosnia has been declared a safe area under United Nations protection. Vastly outnumbered and lightly equipped, a Dutch battalion forms the UN protection force. But they're as good as powerless against the Bosnian Serbs operating under Colonel General Ratko Mladic, played by Boris Izakovic. United Nations promises to the citizens of Srebrenica are made and then they're broken. As Bosnian Serb forces overrun the city, there's a mass exodus on foot towards the ramshackle UN compound that exists there. With room for only a few thousand inside the compound, many more are left outside. Inside, no food, no water, no toilets. Aida is one of only 3 translators. Only through persistence does she manage to ensure that her former school principal husband and 2 sons, the younger, aged 17, are allowed into the compound with her. Colonel Mladic promises safe passage for all of those wanting to leave, but that's simply a lie. Aida tries desperately to protect her family as one of so many caught in the maelstrom. The movie's based on fact. It adopts a heightened reality approach for dramatic tension, but the outcome is incontrovertible. I mean, it's tough to sit and watch what becomes a case of lambs to the slaughter as the situation becomes more and more desperate and dire, Dave.
It is. This is an absolutely brilliant film, and I think it's a very important film as well. This is one of those films where I sat there from start to finish feeling like I was in shock almost. This was an incident that I knew about, and I think that actually made the film even more powerful to watch because I knew what the ending was going to be. I was blown away by the performances of the actors and actresses in this film. I thought Jasna Juricic was absolutely brilliant in her role of Aida, and this film almost takes on a real-time kind of feel when you're watching the film. It's not, I should preface that it's not a real-time film, but it feels like a real-time film because you're there the entire time almost with Aida, seeing what she's seeing, and you can feel the emotion coming off the screen, which is just credit to the director and credit to the screenwriters as well.
Well, I mean, she's really compelling, as you rightly say, as this sort of can-do hero of the piece. Her non-verbal cues, Dave, in particular her eyes, they shine a searing light on the horrors that are unfolding, and her fear is palpable, and her trust, understandably, is in short supply, Peter.
It certainly is. And look, this is a superb film, and it was obviously nominated last year for Best International Feature at the Oscars. What is so interesting about this film is it's one of a slew of films that is being made post the 1990s conflict, Serbian-Bosnian conflict in Srebrenica, and of course Jasmila Zabanic, who directed the film, made a film a few years ago called Griffiths, which looked at the way women had to cope with the massacres and deaths that were happening with the conflicts. This one is just as good from Jasmila, beautifully directed, very compelling, and has an important message at the end about survival and about not making sure that this does not happen again in terms of the genocide. Absolutely beautifully directed film.
Well, the frustrations of the UN representatives on the ground, they're apparent throughout in this movie. Their lack of support clearly contributes to the worsening situation, and And I suppose, Greg, the injustice and man's inhumanity to man, they are the sort of prevailing issues, aren't they? The prevailing themes.
Yeah, well, the powerlessness of the UN here to actually do anything, remind me a little bit of the film that came out a couple of decades ago, Hotel Rwanda, set amongst the Rwandan genocide there, where the UN basically stood by, and unless they were fired on or something, they couldn't act there, and they had to they bore witness to this genocide and massacre. And this film is pretty much the same there, where the UN is helpless to intervene there. They're dealing with this massive influx of refugees. They can't hold them, and then they've got to watch as the Serbian forces come in with their deadly intent there. As you said, it's a dramatic film there. The tension escalates here. You almost got sweaty palms while you're watching this yourself, knowing that the inevitable is about to happen there. And I thought that it was a strong performance as Aida there. She captures her desperation, her frustration, her fears. It's very compelling there. And as Peter rightly pointed out, we've seen a number of films about the Serbian conflict here, but this is one of the more powerful, compelling, and sort of gripping.
Absolutely. I mean, there's no question about it. It really, the parallels to Nazi Germany are certainly there. And, I mean, it's a horrible thing to say. There's also, of course, the rising tide of anti-Semitism, so that's sort of swirling around. And it's not all that long ago that this all went down. There's a really ugly picture of the depths to which autocratic rulers descend in their pursuit of total control and domination. It is called QUO VADIS Aida. It's rated M, runs for 104 minutes. Peter, score out of 10, please.
A definite 10 out of 10 from me.
Wow. Okay. Dave?
Yeah, a 10 out of 10 for me. It's my first 5-star movie of the year.
Jeez. Okay, they're very big scores. And Greg?
I'll go 9 out of 10.
And I'll go 8 out of 10. So that's a very important film for people to see, though. No question about that.